You and Vince kind of buried the hatchet. You and Shawn buried the hatchet on Raw in 2010. But I mean, you and Triple H, are things okay, are they not? Because there's various things. We've had you saying his matches are 4 out of 10. We had people think at the Hall of Fame that you rolled your eyes at him when he came out to get inducted. Can you set the record straight?
Did you guys notice that? Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't want to peel a big scab off and get, going a big rag on about Triple H or Shawn or Vince or anybody, because I want to do it, but
like, do you and They really want to. Do you and Triple H get on now?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I really. I try. I try to move on. Like, I don't really. I always compare it to carrying around a big bag of rocks of your gripes that you have in your life. It's like, if you can just drop that big bag of rocks and you don't carry it around, you do a lot better for your mental state and your emotional state. But at the same time, you gotta follow your heart. And I'm not sure where I stand with Triple H. I know that, just being honest, I never rated him. The only reason I believe, anyway, and I'm probably be sorry I say all this stuff, because it's probably not going to help me out, but I just never ever thought he was any good. I never thought everything he's done, everything he's created, it's all stuff that he wrote out for himself. Like, I'm going to be this, I wish I could have sat back in 1992 and said, well, this is what I'm going to do for the next 10 years. I'm going to win every title, and I'm going to be champion 55 times. Or 500 times, or, it's like, I think Triple H is a phony, like, in the sense that he never earned it. He never earned it, and he never deserved it. He just married the boss's daughter, and the only reason he married the boss's daughter is because I think he became Vince's hit guy, or the whole thing that happened in Montreal. Not that we want to go back to all that, but Triple H. Let me just say this: I wish he'd been in the dressing room when I knocked Vince out. I have no doubt in my mind that Triple H would have had the exact same ride. And I wish that it had happened. I wish he was in the dressing room, because he might not be married to Stephanie anymore, or might not have ever happened. But there was so much anger, and Triple H was such a slime ball back in 1997. I mean, he was just a guy that I had very little respect for. I never really rated him. I don't know, you guys tell me, like, there's not one match that I ever watched of Triple H's with anybody that I ever thought was like, oh, that's a great match. Or I never ever wanted to wrestle him. I always look at every wrestler and go, I could do this with that guy, and I could do this with that guy. But with Triple H, it was always like just a match. Like, it was just, nothing special ever came to my mind. I wrestled him a couple of times. He was always trying to beat me. And I remember we did a Monday Night Raw in Germany, and he was part of the booking now. He's in the booking committee with Vince and Jerry Briscoe and all these guys. And I get to Germany, which is one of my biggest markets ever. Like, there was never a star in Germany like I was. And even Vince told me after, when I came back in 2010, when I came back, he told me one time, he goes, the only country that never came back was Germany. He goes, after you left and you left the company, he goes, it's never come back. It's never been the same. It's like the whole market crashed. And I think it's kind of come back and running now, but it took a long time for them to rebuild their core there. And again, it's like I get in the dressing room, and I can't remember what city it was in Germany, but it was Monday Night Raw, and it might have been Berlin, I can't remember. But I get there, and Triple H is beating me conveniently, 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring. And I'm like, I remember Jerry Briscoe, they kind of cornered me in the dressing room. And Triple H is staring at me, and it's like, this is what you're doing. And Triple H is going to go over. And I'm like, I'm listening to him, and I said, I want to talk to Vince first. I said, I'm not doing anything till I talk to Vince. And then, because I never refused to ever lose to anybody except for Sean and Survivor Series. But anyway, so I said, I want to talk to Vince. And so then they said, okay, they put me in a room with Vince. And I said to Vince, I said, why would you beat me in Germany? It's the most over country that I'm, like over here too, where I was really super over. Why would you beat me with a guy that's not over, you, Triple H? And why would you beat me in the middle of the ring? And I'm wrestling Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13 in 2 weeks or a week from now. So you're going to beat me on Monday Night Raw, pin me right in the middle of the ring, and then you want me to wrestle Steve Austin and do what? And I remember Vince just had this, looked like somebody hit him with a sledgehammer. He was like, and he goes, you're right. You have to change it. He realized that they can't beat me before I wrestled Steve. And you could just see Triple H just about, he just turned white. It was like he didn't get to beat me. He had already mapped it out in his head that he was going to pin me and destroy me right there in Germany because he had the clout, which tells you what kind of a piece of shit he was. But anyway, so I foiled him temporarily. But he was out to get me, and he was not the heat that Triple H and Sean had for me for all those months leading into the Survivor Series. Like I say, I wish Triple H had been in the dressing room. I really do, because he might not be around today to talk about it.
I do want to finish up by saying, in 2025, so many modern wrestlers, CM Punk, FTR, all these different people, still talk about how much they love Bret Hart, and the legacy that you've left is pretty obvious to people, I think. And that must make you pretty happy.
Yeah, it is. I always led by example. I always tried to be professional. I never ever refused to lose to any wrestler in my whole career, ever, to anybody. Whatever the boss wanted is what I was going to do. I was never a troublemaker. I never was a shit disturber. I never played games with wrestlers and plotted out ways to screw them over like Triple H and Sean. But there was a set plan to humiliate me and sweep me out the door. And I always thought as it was happening, I've given this guy 14 freaking years of everything I got. And I've believed everything he's ever told me. And I've been the loyal guy. I've never missed a show. I had a perfect record. I think in all the years I worked in WWF, I only missed one match, I think. And I remember when I called up and said, I'm going to miss one town, Vince McMahon laughed and he goes, "This is the first time you've ever missed a town in 10 years or something." And he goes, "Don't even worry about it." And I was I was happy that he said that to me, but it just shows you how much loyalty means to Vince McMahon. It doesn't mean shit to him. And it didn't mean anything to Triple H. Triple H never gave a rat's ass about anything I ever did, or, they just take and take and take and never give back. And I don't know. I know there's people in the crowd here that might be Triple H fans. To me, he was never a horrible wrestler or anything like that, but he was just, like, let me ask you guys, name one match to me that if you were going to tell me to, like, when you go home, find this match and watch it. You got to watch Triple H versus... Well, you guys are the fans, so I'm not going to argue with you, but I don't know of one match that I ever wanted to watch back that he ever had with anybody. And that's just, I mean, Shawn, I go, okay, Shawn was a great wrestler and a lot of talent, but Triple H, he's kind of like, he was there, but I don't remember anything about him that really, where I ever came back to the dressing room and said, wow, this guy's, Vince, please book me with Triple H. I want to do business with that guy. Like, he's really something else. Like I did with Steve Austin, for example. But, you know, and I would love to have wrestled Shawn. And, you know, the truth is, not that I want to lecture anybody, but the match that Shawn had with me at Survivor Series when they screwed me over, what a great match that would have been if we, you know, the truth is we fought for 25 minutes on the floor outside the ring, brawling all around the building. And then we got in the ring and we only worked for about 10 minutes. But we had about 25 minutes left of a match that we never got to do. And I was always a professional. And I was professional with Shawn. And I was trying my hardest to give the best match. And I loved that match at Survivor Series before the Screwjob happens, because it was such a beautiful match. And I'm like, this is what I do. I can work with anybody, and you don't have to like me if I'm going to work with you, but I'm a professional. And I really was trying my hardest to give Shawn a fantastic match. And, you know, we had so much planned out in that match that never happened. And they knew when they were talking to me that this is all not going to happen. They're going to screw me, which they were planning and plotting out for weeks. And, you know, it's a lousy feeling to be in the situation where you're being pushed out to the ring to wrestle, and you know that the people you're working with are trying to destroy you and kill you off and ruin you in your own home environment and stuff like that. I remember thinking, like, there's no reason to do any of that. Like, why would anyone do that? Like, I'm a company guy. I've never lied about anything. I've always told my truth to Triple H and Shawn and been straight shooters with both those guys when they were both scheming to tear me down and take my spot and kick me out of the company. And it was so corrupt, to be honest, that, you know, I just regret that Shawn and me didn't do the finish that we had mapped out, or that Vince didn't say, look, you know, we'll just do this the way you want. You know, and you should know that the WWF or WWE always pretends that poor Vince, he had no choice. He had to screw me over because it was like nothing else he could do. I was just so difficult, you know, but that's not true. I would have done anything they asked me to do. If Shawn Michaels had never said to me that he was no way he would ever put me over the way he did, you know, I would have, if Vince had said to me, you know, we're going to put the belt on Shawn, I would have said, I don't care. Like, I was always professional. You know, and it wasn't that important to me to be world champion or anything. They put the belt on me, you know, and whenever I was asked to drop the belt to Bob Backlund or anybody, I did whatever they asked me to do. And I did it to the best of my ability. That's what kind of a professional I was. And when I think of Shawn that day, God, they were just they were all such scumbags, you know. I always never stopped reflecting on all of them. Triple H, Shawn, Vince, they were set out to destroy me after I'd given them everything I ever had. You know, I just never understood it. I was always a guy that I told stories in the ring. I brought out the best. I would love to be sitting here going, the Survivor Series match was such a great match that stands right next to the Iron Man match. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with Shawn. I wanted to do business for Vince. I wanted to kick the shit out of WCW. I was a company guy all the way. I've been with WWF all my life. I was so committed, and you know, it was just so frustrating and kind of demoralizing to have them just trying to tear you down every week and just constantly trying to ruin you and tear you down and break your back, you know, to destroy everything you ever did. And you know, maybe that's why I took it so serious, is I just look at that as like, I don't know how they could do that to me after all I'd given them, including, you know, all the years I've been with Shawn. But, you know, you learn from life's lessons.